Alright, so today I'm going to go over the study guide for the 9 weeks test. For you guys, the test basically has two sections. Section 1 is over the order of operations that we spent most of this 9 weeks doing. And then section 2, the rest of the test is about ratios and proportions, which we've only been on for a little while, but there's not as much to ratios and proportions as there was to the other section. So I'm going to start with section 1, order of operations, and this should be pretty much a review for all of us, but we know our order of operations are parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, add, subtract. In that order, first, second, we do these third and these fourth. We do whichever one is first, left to right, for multiply and divide and add and subtract. So I'll start here. So we've got division and multiplication. We're going to do division first just because it's listed first. 18 divided by 3 is 6. And then when I bring down everything else, you've got addition and multiplication. You multiply before you add. 4 times 6 is 24. And then you add it to 6, which gives you 30. Okay, for number 2, we're going to do what's in parentheses first. So we're going to subtract. 4 minus 1 is 3. I almost wrote 5. That's 3. Then I'm going to bring down everything else. Now, before we can do anything else, we need to simplify our numerator and our denominator. 6 plus 15 is 21. 4 plus 3 is 7. And then you simplify 21 over 7. This means 21 divided by 7, but you can also type it in the calculator. This would give you 3. And then you subtract, because it's first, 3 minus 3 is 0, and 0 plus 9 is 9. For number 3, we're going to do our parentheses first. 32 minus 8 is 24. And then we divide, because we divide before we add. 24 divided by 4 is 6, and then 6 plus 2 is 8. Now, pay close attention to this. We've got a couple of absolute value problems. Absolute value is how far away from 0. Your absolute value is always going to be positive. So, negative 13 is 13 units away from 0 on a number line. 1 is 1 unit away from 0 on the number line. And then 13 plus 1 gives you 14. Okay, up here, we want to add these numbers together first. 3 plus 4 is 7. And then now I can take the absolute value of 7, which is just 7. I'm going to bring this stuff down. And then you can simplify 63 over 3, which is 21. And 7 minus 21 is negative 14. Okay, number 6 is just a plugging in problem. I want to take this expression and I want to plug negative 3 right there. So I'm going to do 4 times negative 3 plus 1. Multiply first, this gives you negative 12. Negative 12 plus 1 is negative 11. Okay, now here we've got some exponents and some square roots. You want to simplify every single one of these things first. 5 squared is 25. 6 squared is 36. I'm going to bring that down. The square root of 4 is 2. And the square root of 100 is 10. So now I've got a regular problem. I know I need to divide before I subtract or add. So 36 divided by 2 is 18. And now I can bring down the other stuff. We're going to subtract because it's first. We do adding and subtracting at the same time. Whichever one is written first, you do it first. This gives us 7, and then 7 plus 10 is 17. Okay, and then I'm going to simplify each one of these. The square root of 64 is 8. 2 squared is 4. 7 squared, that means 7 times 7 is 49. Then you're going to multiply. And then you add 32 plus 49, which is 81. Alright, so that's the first part. That's what we already spent a whole lot of time on this. If any of these problems give you any questions, any troubles, go back and watch the videos that I've already posted on order of operations. Now this stuff is from last week, ratios and proportions. All of the videos from last week is what's going to help you with this. So the first thing is, if I want to know if my ratios are equivalent, we are going to see there's a couple of ways you can do it. The first thing that you can do is you can figure out what number do I multiply this one by to get 77. And maybe you know that, maybe you don't, but 11 times 7 is 77. If 9 times 7 gives you 63, then this ratio is equivalent to this ratio, and 9 times 7 does give you 63, so yes, they are equivalent. But notice it says, if they are, show how you know. This could be a perfectly good explanation, but another way that you can do this is you can just type in 11 divided by 9 and see what it gives you, and then type in 77 divided by 63, and as long as it gives you the exact same decimal, that's another reason that yes, they are equivalent. So I can either use this for my explanation, or I could say yes, they both equal 1.222 repeating. Okay, so it's up to you how you do these problems. Okay, you can either look for a factor that they multiply by, or you can just see what their decimals are. I think that's what I'm going to do on the next one. I'm going to type in 12 divided by 8, and I get 1.5. 3 divided by 4, and I get 0.75. Those are not the same, so no, these are not equivalent. Okay, for number 11, I'm going to type in 1 divided by 5. I get 0.2. 7 divided by 35, also 0.2, which are equal. So we're going to say yes, they are equivalent. Both equal 0.2. Okay, and for the last one, 4 divided by 5 is 0.8. 4 divided by 20 is 0.2. No, they're not equivalent. All right, the next couple of problems are about unit rate. That is whenever you take your ratio and you simplify it, or you divide it until the denominator is 1. So normally when we do unit rate, we put our money on top. Okay, anytime you have something involving money, you should put it on top. So we have $16 for 9 pencils. That's my ratio. If I want the unit rate, I'm going to divide 16 divided by 9, which gives me 1.7777 continued. But what this means is that it's 1.77 per pencil. Or in other words, approximately $1. If I round this, because that's a 7, this needs to go up to an 8. So it's $1.78 approximately per pencil. That's my unit rate. Okay, if you look at the next one, Arkansas received 15 inches of snow in 4 hours. Give unit rate in inches of rain per hour. This is supposed to say rain right here. That's what y'all's copy should say. So, if Arkansas received 15 inches of rain in 4 hours, we usually put time on bottom. So I'm going to do 15 inches in 4 hours. I'm going to divide 15 divided by 4. I get 3.75. So what this means is, if 15 inches in 4 hours is the unit rate of 3.75 inches per hour. Okay, for number 15, we got cost here, so we are going to put our price or your cost on top. And if it tells you price per ounce, this means this is your top number and this is your bottom number. Same thing up here, I didn't mention that. Price is top because it's first. Per pencil is bottom because it's second. So notice we have price per pencil. Price per pencil. You put your price on top and your pencils on bottom. Inches is on top. hour is on bottom. Okay, inches, hour. All right, back to this one. So 99 cents, we know we write 99 cents as 0.99 for 32 ounces. So I'm going to type this into the calculator. 0.99 divided by 32. Now, because this is 0.03 and I'm looking at money, we're talking about money here, I'm going to round this to the nearest hundredth. So because that's a 0, this is going to stay a 3. So this is approximately 0.03, which is 3 cents. It's approximately 3 cents per ounce. All right, and the last few here, we're going to set up a proportion. Now, remember, a proportion is when you have two fractions that are equal to each other, or two ratios that are equal to each other. So, what I do when I set this up is I usually just take the two numbers that they give me and write it as a ratio. So I'm going to do 4 over 39.96. And I'm going to write out to the side, the 4 is my movie tickets. So I put tickets on top, and I'm putting my cost on bottom. So tickets over cost. 4 tickets cost $39.96. And I want to find the cost of 10 movie tickets. So 10 is the only other number I have. Because I'm talking about 10 tickets, tickets needs to go on top, 10 goes on top. Cost is what I'm looking for, so I'm going to use a C for my cost. Cost goes on bottom. So what this means is 4 tickets cost $39.96. 10 tickets cost how much? That's what we're looking for. So once you set up your proportion, you cross multiply. 4 times C is 4 times C. And then you do 10 times 39.96. I can't multiply these, so I'm going to leave it as 4 times C. Then I'm going to do 10 times 39.96, and that gives me 399.6. And remember, your last step is to always divide by the number by your variable. So we're going to divide by 4. 399.6 divided by 4 gives me 99.9. If we're talking about cost here, this means $99.90. Okay, this one we've got 16 flashlight batteries for 5-night trip, so I'm going to do 16 over 5. This is batteries over nights. 16 batteries, 5 nights. And then the only other number they give me is a 15-night trip. So should that go on the top or bottom? 15 nights. Nights is on bottom, so I'm going to put 15 here. This is what we're looking for, our flashlight batteries. So I'm going to use F for flashlight batteries. So 16 batteries for 5 nights. How many batteries for 15 nights? That's what this means. So, cross multiply. 16 times 15, 5 times F. Now, 16 times 15 is 240. 5 times F is 5 times F. Last step is to divide by the number beside your variable, so 5 in this case. 240 divided by 5 is 48. So, if they were to go on a 15-night trip, it would take 48 flashlight batteries. That is a lot of batteries. Alright, and then these last 3 problems are already proportions that are set up. You just have to cross multiply. So, we're going to do 6 times x, and then 4 times 42. I'm going to leave this as 6 times x. 4 times 42 is 168. And then we divide by this number right here to get rid of it. 168 divided by 6 is 168 divided by 6 is 28. 5 times x is 5 times x. 2 times 7 is 2 times 7. 2 times 7 is 14. And then divide by 5. And then I'm typing in 14 divided by 5. And that is 2.8. Remember, you can check yourself. I forgot to mention this. You can check yourself. If I go back in and plug in 2.8 over 2, if I do 2.8 divided by 2, I get 1.4. This fraction should give me the same thing. 7 divided by 5 also gives me 1.4. So these two things should be equal. All right, last one, 5 times 55, and then 11 times x. So 5 times 55 is 275. Can't multiply these, so just leave them as 11 times x, and then you divide by this number right here, 11. 275 divided by 11 is 25. Okay, that's it. Remember, your test, the 9 weeks test is going to look basically identical to this, different numbers. On the test it might say 5 over 4 equals 28 over x, or something like this. It might be the exact same word problem, but I might tell you there's 12 flashlight batteries and 2 night trip, or something like that. Okay, so if you can work through these problems and understand how to set up each problem, you should be good to go on the 9 weeks test.